Hello. Good morning, everyone. My name is Stefan Mentowitz. I'm the moderator of the first session. We start with a very great presentation of the CEO of RISC-V International, Calista Redmond.
I don't know if there's a way to turn that one off, but good morning. Come on, guys. You know where we're going with this, right? Let's try one more time. Good morning. Good morning. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. It is a great morning. In fact, it's dawn. It's the dawn of a new era, and we are all gathered because we are very passionate about the RISC-V community and the bright future that it holds for our entire industry, for us as individuals, and for us collectively here in Europe and around the world. So thank you so much for joining us, and a special thanks to our sponsors. These are the folks who are investing in the opportunity for us to get together in person. And by the way, we're already twice as many as who gathered in Paris last year. Europe is growing, Europe is investing, and Europe is showing up. And the world is welcoming, and the world is showing up and sponsoring and joining us together. In fact, it has been a monumental effort to pull this together, and I want to extend my thanks to the amazing collaboration, pulling together a fantastic program, a venue, the logistics, all the moving parts that go into bringing us together. And this is just what happens for this event. In fact, there are thousands of folks who are investing their futures, our collective futures, in RISC-V every day. Today, we have more than 11,000 engineers engaged in RISC-V around the world, and that is a testament to where we are and where we're going. So, I'm going to cover 4 topics today. First, I just want to set some context. Where are we? Why and how are we redefining the future of computing? This is well underway today. This is not something that's happening tomorrow. This is something that's happening today. Second, what are the proof points to that? Where are we seeing progress? What are we seeing across industries? And where are we diving deeper? Third, Europe. Let's talk about Europe and how Europe is redefining compute across this area and this region, and what is the important aspect of that to our global community. And then finally, let's talk about the strategic engagement that we're seeing around the world and why it matters so much for you to engage as well. So let's talk about where is RISC-V today. RISC-V is fundamentally redefining the future of computing. We are convinced of this. We have seen that RISC-V is inevitable. RISC-V has ushered in more than 10 billion cores in market already. We see testimonials about this all the time. Second, RISC-V enables the best processors. This is by design. RISC-V has taken a very modular approach on a very well-grounded architecture, something that we've cultivated since the 80s. And this is ushering in new possibilities, new innovation, new collaboration, because we're taking an open and collaborative approach. And then finally, RISC-V is really working at warp speed to build the most profound ecosystem around this architecture that we have ever seen. So RISC-V is inevitable. More than 10 billion cores in market, and innovation and adoption are moving rapidly across industries. We are seeing everyone getting involved, from startups and engineers and universities all the way through to multinationals that are investing in this as part of their strategic future. What was once an experiment, a prototype, is quickly moving into production. Production means implementations. It means it's showing up in your cell phones, in your data centers, and everywhere in between. We're seeing this demand, the growth opportunity. The growth opportunity is part technical. What can you possibly do when you have freedom of design? in part business. We're seeing microprocessors show up in every corner of our lives. I'm pretty sure the coffee makers and toasters, all the way to the AI and acceleration and data centers, there's profound opportunity. And that opportunity is both, has various constraints, various design parameters that we need to operate within. That collective and shared investment of not just one company driving the strategic agenda and the future of the architecture, but the collective investment, the collective strategic input that we have in our community is profound. So let's talk about that growth opportunity for a minute. Over the course of the last several decades, there have been more than 50 architectures used across compute. At the end of the day, or back in the 90s, 2000s, this resulted in basically 2 architectures dominating the entire spectrum of compute. Now today, we've gone from basically 0 to 16% by 2027. That's a lot of growth in the RISC-V community. Are you seeing that in your business? Are you seeing that in the opportunities and the business cases that you're building? Because at the end of the day, if it's driving revenue, it's driving strategic investment and it's driving innovation. So we see this growing across the same fields that you see growing in the headlines every day, namely in AI, as AI is infused across all levels of compute. But it's by design, right? Freedom of design comes with freedom of opportunity, and you have to have composable modular approach to your microprocessors. This means that you can fine-tune your design for performance, for energy consumption, and for the different implementations that you are looking to bring to market. Let's talk about the ecosystem. So RISC-V ecosystem is not driven by one strategic interest. This is driven by the collective interest of all of us. That means that open standards are driving choice. Open standards mean that you will not have vendor lock-in. Open standards mean that you are no longer tying your destiny to one singular additional company. When you have control over your strategic future, you have that freedom to partner, have development partners, to work across platforms, to have portability of workloads, and choose the best architecture for your implementation. This is strategic. Again, it's technical and business. As I've mentioned, we have thousands of engineers working on RISC-V every day. That breeds innovation. Innovation breeds competition. When you are looking to be competitive in your particular field, you need to be able to differentiate your solution versus another. To do that, you need to have control of your destiny. These modern design approaches and working from a code base that allows for modular design is essential. So we're gonna get to the next slide, I promise. There it is. So there are various ways that we're doing this. First of all, you have domain-specific extensions. This means that there is coding space reserved for the types of different designs that we most anticipate, as well as additional design space. This means platform standardization, as we come together for common profiles and platforms that can drive the most common use cases across our fields of interest. And then it's the contributor culture. What is contributor culture? Contributor culture means that you are rolling up your sleeves, hands-on code, and contributing to the shared interests of all of us. That does not mean that you're working on pieces of the puzzle that are rapidly commoditizing. If you're working on something that everyone kind of needs just to do the basics, and you're thinking, you know what, I can make a few euros or dollars or name your favorite currency off of this particular piece of the puzzle, that's really short-term thinking. Invest in open collaboration and contribution, joining into our work groups to say, these are the things that we all need. And then I'm going to invest my deep resources in the differentiation on top of and around that. These are the types of opportunities that we collectively share and independently can go pursue. So that contributor culture means upstreaming in RISC-V or in other communities where open source and open standards play a part. Now, some of you might notice there's a new logo on that bottom right area, and that's called RISE. And in a second, we're going to get to that, I think. All right. I get extra minutes, right? I don't have an alternate clicker. I don't know if somebody in the back can help me with the click. You want to take a look? There's only 3 buttons. Now, him pressing them is the same. We need RISC-V inside. Did we go 2, or did we skip one? Okay. So we've started a new approach to how we convey the RISC-V ecosystem. This is a landscape, and you can find it live on the links in the very small print in the bottom left of your chart here. And we are building out the various tools, applications. This is like a trick, right? Did she notice her slide changed? So we are building out hundreds of different applications, operating systems, tools and compilers and other resources to help you achieve the vision that you are working on. RISC-V International is the center of gravity for this ecosystem. RISC-V is driving the strategic agenda as a collective community on what is most important, what is most necessary, what is most urgent as we pursue the collective ambitions of our community. So think about engaging here. RISE, welcome to RISE, and the strategic investment that we see from partners around the world in RISE. Now, RISE is taking a piece of this. They're saying, hey, let's look at what are some of those common pieces of the puzzle that we need to upstream together with the open source software community as well as with the open standards community in RISC-V. Let's think about how we contribute to this, right? So RISC-V sets the overall agenda, says here's what's most strategically important, and we have development partners, several in China, in fact, who have become the most prolific contributors to our RISC-V community in upstreaming for shared resources we can all use. RISE has said, you know what, we can do more. Let's get a collective of us together and work on things like development tools, runtimes, firmware, kernel and virtualization, compilers and toolchain, and the other priorities you see here. So RISE is going to take a look at a piece of those and help us produce that. So welcome to RISE. It's an honor to work together with you, and it's an honor to collaborate with RISE in our overall community. This does not mean pull back on the ecosystem work that you're doing in RISC-V. This is a collective effort across both the RISC-V community as we continue the work and the important things that we're doing across security and operating systems and all the other components that are part of our software strategy. So this community, the RISC-V community, has made incredible progress. And I'd like to talk just for a minute about the amazing things that we're seeing across the industry. Because at the end of the day, if we're not actually implementing, if we're not actually going to market, then, and if we're not commercializing, then this looks a lot like a hobby. And while RISC-V is a great hobby, when you can bring your hobby to market, it becomes a profession, a job, a career. It becomes something of a company strategy. It becomes an entrepreneur's dream. It becomes a multinational's new best friend. And these are the areas that we're seeing across automotive, as we see safety and security and the functional safety ISO standards being met by many different types of RISC-V implementations, as new innovations are tackling the demands of autonomous or assisted driving, are tackling the demands around all the different features and functions that go into automobiles. And this automotive segment is growing very fast. Remember, we used to be at 0. In another couple of years, we see this growing to 10% of the overall automotive market. That's incredible growth when you think about the growth going on in automotive. High-performance computing. This is an area where Europe has been investing for many, many years. And Europe is continuing, both as European Union as well as various research organizations and institutions, to progress the state of the art in HPC. So we've spoken at several different HPC conferences. You'll see many different folks here involved in HPC. And this is a profound opportunity, not just for Europe, but for us to engage globally. And when I say engage globally, it's so important. As we see continued investment locally, those engagements are part of a global community. We'll touch on that in a minute. Or we could just stay on high-performance computing for a while. Data center and cloud. So AI, acceleration, these are differentiators in the data center and in hyperscales and in cloud. And we see this coming to fruition with the high-performance RISC-V processors that are coming to market. High-performance RISC-V. Does anybody else remember when RISC-V was kind of relegated to embedded only? That's not where we are today, and that's not what the future looks like. RISC-V is applicable to the full spectrum of computing, from embedded to enterprise and everything in between. So this is a fantastic opportunity, and we're seeing a lot more progress going on from startups to multinationals. You see logos on charts like these that you've recognized for years, and you see new logos as well. So in AI and ML, these are the types of things that are driving smarter business, right? AI and things like ChatGPT and that, it's not just for planning your family vacation, although I confess, I did ask ChatGPT where I should take my kids this summer, and came up with some interesting recommendations. I don't think they know my kids. But how are you able to apply AI and other machine learning to business decisions? How can you better optimize a factory? How can you plan for the next frontier in your customer satisfaction departments? How do you apply AI and ML to enterprise-level software? How can you apply AI and ML to the automotive industry, to embedded and bringing that learning from the endpoint all the way to the data center? Wow, this is like the most exploding opportunity of our time. You see and hear from many great international multinationals talking about where AI and ML are taking the industry, and I ask you, where is RISC-V taking AI? So think about those opportunities. So Europe is investing very deeply in RISC-V. We see this from many of the European Union calls for investment that they're doing. We see this with individual companies who are pivoting their strategies to RISC-V. The important thing that I want you to think about is that when you invest locally, when you invest in companies and organizations local to Europe, make sure you're investing in the global importance of RISC-V International, of RISC-V community and industry and opportunity. Why? When you invest locally only, you put some kind of false borders on your development partners, your supply chain, your market opportunity. By engaging not just in local investment, but global opportunity and global collaboration, you open up where you can take your market. And you've seen in the slides prior to this, the international engagement. Much of the work that's been done has been done through collaboration, through partnerships, through community. And that's something that we see as an important variable coming through. Here are just some of the investments that we've seen on an international level, right? From companies like Intel to governments in India and the European Union, even here in Spain. You know, it was kind of a fun day when the president of a country was saying, RISC-V. Really? Wow. Let's get all the presidents of all the countries to say RISC-V. So, where are you at in your journey? Where are you at in dedicating your teams and your strategic investments to RISC-V? This is really important. This helps to shore up the technical path that you're on, helping us to together govern critical elements that each one of us needs. What pieces of that puzzle are commoditizing that we need to all share in so that you have the interoperability, so that you have portability of workloads, so that you have a faster path to getting to the differentiation that you're interested in individually. And then think about how your engagement in RISC-V International helps to fund programs that will help your success as well. It's not just about proliferation of RISC-V overall, it's about your individual success. We want you to be wildly successful with RISC-V. We're continuing to grow very rapidly. Today we have more than 3,600 members. We have continued to grow at a pretty unprecedented clip. We have a great diversity of stakeholders, and it's from around the world. Today we have about 30%, and by the way, if you've heard me say this before, it hasn't changed. We continue to have about a third of our members in Europe, about a third in APAC, and about a third in North America. And we're seeing continued growth in some of the developing areas as well. We've made a lot of progress. And this is where the importance of your engagement in RISC-V really matters. We have about 70 different work groups that are working on some of those shared and common elements that you need for your designs. We've already ratified 7 different extensions and have about a dozen more coming through to ratification. Here are some of the highlights of those particular ratifications. So as you engage in the community, that's your opportunity to infuse your strategic point of view. And we need that. We need that leadership, and we need to know that we're able to ratify things that matter for the test of time. By the way, that's one of the areas that we differ from open source software. When open standards come together and make a ratification, it is for the longevity of the architecture. When we make a ratification, it doesn't mean that 6 months later there's going to be a patch update. You can't do that with hardware. We're also accelerating our online learning. We launched online learning in 2021, and we've had more than 20,000 registrations for our online courses. 20,000. That's a pretty strong number. We're continuing to see growth here. In fact, we've just launched RISC-V fundamentals course to help prepare for our first ever certification exams, which, by the way, are available in both English as well as Chinese, thanks to our partners and community members who are helping us to bring this to market. This is really important. This ensures that we are building the talent base around the world and gives everyone that opportunity to shore up their RISC-V learning. This is also in stride with the work that we do with universities. Universities who want to bring RISC-V into their existing computer courses as well as into standalone courses. So if you have not engaged in our online learning and university work, consider doing that. How many of you in this room are RISC-V members already? This is a hand time. Yes, this is an amazing opportunity, right? And I hope that you are taking advantage of the benefits of being a member. Let us know when you have a blog entry we can help promote. Let us know when you have advanced the state of the art and have announced something. Let us help you amplify that. Let us help you gain visibility for the important work that you're doing. Engage in our technical communities. Look at the opportunity for leadership there. Look at the opportunity to find collaboration partners. Look for the opportunity to accelerate your own learning, accelerate your own personal growth, as well as your company's traction in an area that's important to you. This is a huge opportunity. Think about this as a way to retain talent, to find talent, and to help continue to grow your eminence in the RISC-V community. This is something that is hot on the minds of many around the industry, whether they are partners, customers, and everything in between. So, I implore you, think about how you are building RISC-V into your company strategy as well as your personal mission. I see so much passion in this community. Every one of you has shown up here today because you are not just passionate about RISC-V, but you believe in the future that we are creating together. And that is a profound community, and that is a profound thing to engage in. I also want to put a plug in. We're having a breakfast panel about collaboration. And please join that breakfast panel. I think you need to grab your breakfast upstairs and then join us downstairs for the breakfast panel, I believe is tomorrow. And join us to learn about what does it mean to collaborate globally? What does it mean to collaborate and engage and invite the creative innovation of your peers? And think about that from not just a lens of the strategic importance of what we're doing, but from diversity perspectives as well. So thank you. Enjoy this conference. And I ask all of you, make 5 new friends. Don't just hang out with the folks that you've known for years, but make 5 new friends, right? Go learn about what others are doing. Think about where are we collectively going together, because the more conversations you have, the more you will take away from conferences like this. So thank you for showing up, and thank you for your dedication to RISC-V.